Hello, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be painting on this backpack that was kindly sent to me by 17 London. 17 London is a UK-based brand that makes adorable backpacks, and they have lots of pockets, which I love pockets. But they also really encourage people to personalize their bags and do a lot of artist collabs. This video isn't sponsored, but they did send me the backpack for free. But what I did first was just sketch out my idea onto a photo of the backpack. And this is kind of what I came up with. I've been really into lotus pods recently. Next, I kind of just wanted to pick out some colors and play with them in my sketchbook before I actually painted on the backpack, just because it would be a little hard to get the paint off, I figured. But anyways, I decided to go and use my Holbein Acryla gouache, or however you say it, just because everything I read online said that most people usually use acrylic to paint on their backpacks, and acrylic gouache is just acrylic paint that has like a mattifier in it or whatever. So I kind of played with some colors, and just because I wanted to just make sure they looked nice. So that's what I'm doing here. I ended up using the shell pink, I think wine red, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and just like a regular white in the end. And yeah, I'm just painting stuff. I also noticed that my sketchbooks are always really messy. I've never been one of those people that has like a super aesthetic sketchbook, because I don't know, I feel like sketchbooks are there for testing stuff out and making messes. But yeah, these are the colors that I ended up choosing. And now I'm gonna paint on this backpack, which, okay, it surprisingly took me way longer than I thought it would to actually paint on it, just because of the material of the backpack. The material is kind of like a water weatherproof-ish stuff, I guess, and it has like these little grooves in it, so it's kind of like, imagine like a washboard and trying to paint on a washboard with a paintbrush, but a tiny washboard. So yeah, it ended up taking me hours, and I sped this up, like this is sped up like 2000%, and yeah, it took a while. But color thing. So colors will basically look different depending on the colors that surround it. So when I was testing out the pale pink in my sketchbook and I put the shell pink straight out of the tube onto the white paper, I felt that it was going to be too dark, and I ended up adding white to it in my initial sketch. But when I started painting on the backpack and I did the pink and the white and I mixed it all together or whatever, and then I actually painted it on the backpack, it looked way lighter than it did in my sketchbook because the colors surrounding it were so dark. So I ended up just using the shell pink straight out of the tube for all of the pink parts, and I think that looked way nicer. Like it's crazy to me how different colors can look just based on what colors they're next to. It's really funny because I used to struggle so much with colors and creating color palettes, and it was crazy because I could look at it and I would know that the colors I was using in my illustrations or paintings or whatever were awful, but I couldn't figure out why or what to do to create a more cohesive, pretty color palette. And I was so bad at it that I just obsessed and spent so much time researching it. And I took Skillshare classes, and this isn't sponsored at all. I just took Skillshare classes, and I read everything I could about color theory and creating color palettes, and like started to look at things that I had in my own art collection and try to figure out what it was about them that made them look so pleasing to me. And I think when it finally snapped, I don't even know when it finally like clicked in my head, but when it finally did, I feel like now I can very easily, when I'm creating something, I can look at a color that I'm using and I know exactly if it's like too saturated or too dark or too light in relation to the other colors. And I think that if you're struggling with color theory, then that's the one thing I would really suggest actually studying, because it's almost like, I guess it is kind of like a science. I know that the one thing that I did that really helped me as far as like an exercise, I just painted a ton of like little 2-color abstract scenes. So I would just take a piece of paper, pick 2 colors, and then also like a white for a highlight. And I would just do variations on just random little abstract scenes. So one would have like a green background with like a yellow and white vase. And then the other one would have like a white background with a green vase and maybe some tiny yellow flowers and stuff like that. And I feel like just practicing that over and over again kind of got me into like the mindset of like highlights, shadows, and like regular colors. And I would definitely suggest just playing with that, because I know that I've said this before, but there's always so much pressure to only create work that you can share on social media, kind of. Or there's not like actual someone saying that, but that's like what goes on in a lot of artists' minds. And so I really think that just playing with stuff, even if you don't share it, it doesn't matter. You don't have to share it. If it's ugly, who cares? Because you're doing it so you can learn to do something better and to like improve the art that you make. But anyways, we have now reached the end of painting my backpack video. Yay. And here is my final design. And I am actually really happy with the way it turned out. I love the colors that I use. And I think that the lotus pods just, I don't know, they look really dreamy to me. So I just wanted to thank you guys all again so much for watching. And I hope you guys are all staying safe and have an awesome rest of your day. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.